After finally receiving news that Lost Ark will get a closed beta in August for Koreans, I was excited to see Smilegate finally release some information in English, knowing well that there's a large community in the West that is looking forward to it as well. Lost Ark has received a ton of hype, and for all of the right reasons. First off, it's a game that from what we are being shown, it currently has a lot of features. Within the last couple of years when MMOs are being developed, it seems that companies were more focused on having only maybe one major aspect that sets themselves apart from other MMOs on the market, or maybe two, possibly three features, whereas Lost Ark seems to bring a lot of features that seem rather fresh along the way, with all the pretty standard features that also come with it. While I was reading some posts on the subreddit last night, I was anxious to make a post regarding its hype, and although I didn't, I thought a video brought up on this topic could be quite interesting. First, I would like to start off with what the Korean closed beta will have to offer, just to maybe establish somewhat of a grounding that we'll be able to build upon further in the video. But also, if you guys have not heard the news yet, I would like to let you know as well. The closed beta will begin on the 24th of August, allowing the player to choose between 4 different starting classes, which are the Fighter, Warrior, Gunner, and Bard, all having 2 different specializations that branch off of the class. Some of you may be wondering about the original 18 classes that they were talking about. The other classes will obviously come later on. Right now, they're doing a lot more testing with the closed beta, so I'm sure we'll see the full 18 classes playable at launch. They showed off a map for the beta as well, the map being pretty limited for the testing, as you can see with all the large amounts of shaded regions in the map, but it shows that the world will be rather massive. If you saw gameplay, you saw the ships being used to transport to and from these different islands that you see on the map, so that's something that's going to create a rather fresh and unique experience when it comes to traveling. I think it'll be really, really cool. It was a good amount of time that we received absolutely no news or updates on the game, and after this, it has made everyone pretty much really, really happy and very respectively. But unfortunately, if you want to play the beta, you will have to get in contact of either a service or a person that you can purchase an account from if you're locked out regionally. Nonetheless, it is still great news to hear. As for the hype that has been built up over the couple of years, I would like to address a few things regarding expectations and such. Like many MMO players, I become hyped for many up and coming games to come out because, I want to dive into every single bit that the game has to offer. I play these large titles in the hopes that I can enjoy myself in game, but I tend to lose interest very, very quickly in MMOs nowadays. It had me question, why do I continuously want to put tons of hours into these games to only end up being led down by all of the expectations that I grew for the game? Am I expecting too much from these developers? Are these developers just trying to promise way too much and not delivering? What was it? It's a mix, because we're seeing a lot of MMOs come out with what are pretty generic nowadays, but the ones that do come out and stand out a bit more are the ones that people have higher expectations and then tend to lose interest within a few weeks to maybe a few months after launch. So will this happen to Lost Ark? With what we have been seeing without playing the game, will the hype garnered by this title hurt it in the long run? Obviously, it's hard to answer that without playing the game, but I do think that we can go in depth to look at what this title has to offer compared to some other titles that are on the market. Games such as Diablo 3, Path of Exile, Divilian, they may not necessarily be MMOs, but they play the same as a Hawk-Eyed View dungeon crawler. Another title that is up and coming that has also been receiving little information, Lineage Eternal, and many look at it and say Lineage Eternal is no match for Lost Ark. And quite frankly, from what we have seen, I would say the same thing, but once again, it's hard to tell before you can play the game. If you compare to the games, Lost Ark obviously has a lot of more features currently, and classes and stuff like that, but if you directly compare them, they are in the same genre, then you think, okay, 18 classes is a lot more than what most games have to offer, but what about Path of Exile's large and massive skill tree that is so expansive, it generates such great competition and some fun building for characters in game. Also, there's things like, Lost Ark kind of takes Diablo 3's rune system and then takes it further and builds on it, allowing the player to customize their abilities to how they would like while they're leveling up through these 3 different tiers. Little things that they have to offer that I think will provide some fun entertainment that you really don't see many games implementing in this genre, such as card games. You can hit the bar after a long night of smashing some cavern kobolds faces in and get completely wasted, or maybe you just want to chill and just fish up some dinner. The politics in the game should be fun, with the ability to own the individual islands, so I'm sure there will be a lot of back and forth fighting and controlling of land, as well as the content on these items, because to own them, you're going to need to defeat a couple of bosses to take control. Offering PvE arenas, I'm sure will be cool as well, and maybe it will work in something similar to how Diablo's 3 Nephilim Rifts work, in that you have to work up on these tiers or levels in order to climb the leaderboards. By offering raids, I will be very excited to participate in those, as well as the open world battlefield, but I'm hoping that the engine will be optimized well enough, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of people on the field, of course. Now this is all great and nice, but what will it do for the hype? You could offer a lot of things, but it's hard to see games follow it up, and I think that's the main reason why a lot of these games fail, is they really build up their game for a lot of hype, and they say they offer a lot of things, then once people get into the game, the expectations kind of overtake the hype, and people really tend to not see the game for what it was supposed to be. Okay, so with all of these things that they offer, along with some of the other pretty standard things that you see in games, it really talks to a lot of people. I think the way that they are doing their betas is strategically a good move, because with the current state of how many companies deliver them these days, it's mostly about how they can pretty much milk their fan base for some money. They offer packs to purchase them, and you get access for some betas or alphas, whereas Lost Ark is slowly testing each part by inviting more people to do so. If they spend a good amount of time flushing everything out for a couple of months in the beta, then I could see this game really sustaining a fan base and actually delivering on the hype that is already built up so much. I would like to know what you guys think. Will Lost Ark live up to the hype it has garnered or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, always helps to spread the word, and I'll see you guys in the next one.